Hey, intro kids. I'm in my HOSA jacket today, and on purpose because it's time to select next year's HOSA officers. So, here's what you need to know about HOSA. It's super rad. I'm the advisor, and we have a good time. And it's also really good for your college applications. So, I would say to you, yes, you should apply. Okay, so the applications are on VHS website under news and event on the homepage, news and events. Fill it out, email it to me. Okay, and then there'll be a video interview process. Today we're going to be talking about physical fitness and just some different ideas within that realm. And you're going to have kind of a longer assignment that's related to this. We still are going into reproduction, but I need to make sure that I've got all of the forms. So where it's kind of hard to get, we might just end up blasting it out again and having parents do an online signature just to be safe. So that's happening. And then we're going to have another assignment. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the 5 components of physical fitness. I have them written here on the board. And we're just going to talk briefly about what those are. This is part of the assignment. This comes from our Health 2 curriculum. So your assignment is going to be to not only research like exercise a little bit, but also to research some personal care stuff that I'm going to be frank with you. I feel like you guys are old enough, you probably know it all, but it is in the curriculum. So I'm going to kind of let you go, here's the topic, and you delve into it a little bit. But things like take a shower, so good stuff. But the physical fitness realm, every time I can plug for my sports med, I'm gonna do it because she's kind of my baby. And this is what I did in the professional world. So these are things that are all measurable. So if you were to go into a clinic like I worked in, we could test your muscular strength. So we would do some different tests like the Biodex strength test, like a 1 repetition max, sometimes just form and function tests so a PT could see if there are imbalances. So muscular strength, yes, we test for that's like a 1 RM kind of a deal. Or the Biodex, and we're trying to get like your quadriceps to hamstrings ratio. Endurance, like how long can you do it? Or if you wanted to train for these in a strength training fashion, you might be looking at like a rep range of like 5, like 5 or 6. And then if you get into the endurance range, you're probably like 12 and 15. So those are kind of numbers that you would use. So if you're trying to go, how long can my muscles go? The last repetition should be all you got, depending on what your goal is. So if it's a strength goal, we're going to have to up the weight. If it's an endurance goal, we lower the weight to where it's like on the last rep, you're like, I can't do it again. Because really, if we just have like 5 pounds and we're like, all day, look at this, all day, I can just, not going to do much to your muscle, not going to tear it down the way you need it. So every time you strength train, whether it's for endurance or for strength, we want the last repetition to be like, that's it, that's all I can do. So you need to gauge that kind of honestly for yourself. So these are kind of related to what load your body can take. And then we get into cardiovascular endurance. This is when we get the big movers going. So we're running or we're biking. What's your favorite kind of thing to do? The elliptical. So you just pick something where you're like, your big movers are continuously working. And while they're doing that, they're saying, hey, oxygen, nutrients, please. And so your heart rate has to jump up, your breathing rate jumps up, and it's going to just make those tissues a little bit healthier. And you'll see some really strong benefits when you do incorporate some cardiovascular exercise. Next one is flexibility. So if you have tight muscles or tight fascia around the muscles, good idea to do dynamic workouts before your sport and do some static stretching after. Make sure that you're running through a range of motion, and maybe even once you're warm, trying to push through a little bit to get a little more flexible. We want as good a range of motion as we can get, and we want to balance that out, like the strength and flexibility, so we're not injury prone. And then finally, one thing that we can measure, and again, we can measure all of these in our clinic. So we did a stress EKG test for this one. We did like a 1 repetition max here, and our PT did a lot of goniometer stuff. Body composition, that was me. I was gonna pinch them in 4 different areas on their body, and then I would stick them in a bod pod. Or way long ago, we would do the hydrostatic. But we can determine what kind of lean tissue you have and fat tissue, and there's a good ratio to have. So these are the components of fitness. This is part of your assignment, and the rest of it I'm going to have you research, and then we're going to get to reproduction and then prepare for final. That's how it'll go.